but I feel like they can pick anything. There's not really any top lane bans at all.
Yeah, there isn't any top lane bans in this situation. It could suggest IG are heavily wanting to play on that top lane, right? The Nidalee is now open. We saw that banned last draft by EDG, so there is that potential, but realistically, I think EDG are completely fine in this situation. They'll pick up that Jinx very quickly. Could potentially see a jungle pick come out here. Could even go for something. I mean, there's a variety of things open and available, and we've seen this combo quite a bit. The Jinx Corki, the super long range, super scaling mid bot. This would kind of put a humongous pressure on IG to win out this early game, which is kind of what I was saying, right? I want IG to come in fast and hard in the early game, crush that, and close it out.
I mean, it is open.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be needed if they put themselves in this situation. Now, if you're going to pick Nidalee, it has to be in this rotation, but they are toying with the idea of matching AD carries first. We'll see what they have to do.
No, I like this. I think with Sean, with the Nidalee bans they have drawn towards them, you have to take away this pick. And if it's left on the board, you have to take it, especially when you've already gotten your hands on top of that Renekton. So getting your top jungle locked and loaded. I would like to see mid lane here as well. Yes, you are letting On and Lucas kind of fall down the priority just a little bit, but I feel like that's not what you're looking for right now. You're not looking to try and go head to head in the bot side. You're looking to try and get this top half of the map rolling for you as IG.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I think having the mid lane pick, being able to lean that to the top side, very important. They could, in theory, just flex the Renekton, but again, I want a mid who can contest priority against the Corki. They instead opt for the Aphelios. Seems like it's like a little bit of later insurance, right? You get ahead and the Aphelios will carry you through, but again, you're into Jinx Corki. This is scary to face up against. Now, EDG, I'm not really too surprised. They'll pick up the Gwen, right? It's left open and available.
Ban away things against it.
Well, I mean, the Renekton's already been taken, so,
oh, sure. Yeah,
you know.
I completely forgot about that. I don't know why. My brain just lagged for a second because he said Renekton mid.
Could be the expectation that it's just going to go top lane. Again, the Renekton can be flexed, but so can the Gwen. And they are actually going to ban away the Jiejie, so they don't want to deal with the fact that they could flex this Renekton mid. They could put the Jiejie top, give Flandre a really bad time. So we'll trim those tools. For IG, I think banning away junglers makes a lot of sense here, right? I think Xin Zhao already seems like something that would be painful. I think you just auto lose team fights if EDG gets Xin Zhao at this point.
Yeah, I think the jungle bans is where you need to go for it, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take away Xin Zhao from the hands of Jiejie, and maybe even something like the Jarvan or the Renekton things, or not the Renekton, excuse me, the Viego is what I meant to say. Things that can go very skirmish heavy, maybe look, and the Lee Sin as well, things that can, you know, set yourself up in that early stages. So we'll see what the final ban is going to be. The Tryndamere and the Jace all banned away. Again, like you mentioned, this can technically be a Renekton flex for IG, and that's the power of the Renekton in the LPL. You take it so early, put this early priority because it does make you second guess a lot of where is it going, top, mid, how are we going to be able to deal with this, and how can we actually make this work for our team.
Yeah, and I honestly, the Tryndamere mid would have been a really rough time for the Corki. Tom Kench comes out as a ban as well. We saw IG ban the second rotation. They don't want to give that extra safety net for the backline. I think here, EDG, you can just pick up your jungle. Unless there's something you specifically want in the support role, then you could prioritize that. And it looks like they might be in that direction. They want to keep the Gwen flex alive, right? We haven't seen too much Gwen jungle so far in the LPL, but other regions have been flexing it quite heavily between the roles. So they want to keep that element available until they know exactly what Flandre is going up against before they commit that Gwen to the top lane. So they'll take the Thresh. It's not the Tom Kench, but it's still a great safety net.
Great safety net indeed. There's a lot to cover up the flaws or failings of a lot of EDG's comp. You know, you go forward with the Valkyrie or even with the Jinx. When you get excited, you've got yourself a Dark Passage to get yourself out. Now IG got himself an opportunity to answer back, so they will go with the Nautilus, and now they've got to finalize their last pick in this composition. I personally would still love to see Zika on this Renekton in the top side. I feel like when you're looking at carry players, it has to be in someone like that. Or they might just keep a perma-flex and go with the Akshan, because again, this could go top, this could go mid.
Yeah, and the thing is, this can apply a lot of pressure. I think picking something that can apply a lot of pressure onto the Corki is pretty good. And we see the Tristana, right? It's just kind of that old school counter into things like the Corki and the Azir, because you can just jump on them, right? You can really bully them out in the laning phase. And this has to be IG strategy. It has to be, we are playing aggressive, we are looking to punish. EDG throwing the idea of the Poppy. I actually love this, right? This just makes it so it's like it's so hard for IG to win team fights unless they are monster ahead in this situation, right? You have the super scaling carries in the Jinx, the Corki, the Gwen. You have so much defensive zone control with the Thresh and the Poppy, with the fact that you have the the shroud from the Gwen. That means you can't auto attack. This is very much IG need to crush early game into the ground. This needs to be clean, crisp, and then they cannot make a mistake. Otherwise, I feel like EDG will just take over.
And this will be a career first for Yuekai on that Tristana. Has yet to play it in his career of professional League of Legends. This is going to be interesting to see. Like you said, has got that very early burst. Going to look at the runes and masteries. I would expect it to be the Hail of Blades. You go super hard, aggressive level 2. You get that jump down. You're able to get the explosive bomb as well off. And that's how you generally play that setup. But like you said, if you don't get those early kills, if you don't get that early advantage, the Tristana takes an awful long time to become relevant again. Has a massive mid-game lull. And same with the Renekton. Great early game, but the longer this game goes on, it just becomes more difficult, harder and harder for them to be able to try and make something work. But I like that IG are at least trying something like this. I like that they're going for something a little bit more aggressive because they know if this game goes late, they're against EDG. They don't really have a chance.
Yeah, and they kind of saw that in the early game, right? They held up okay in the early levels, but they didn't have the tools to really snowball it. And it was really EDG who was setting the pace. And then it came to that mid game, one mistake, game's over, right? And that's exemplified here, but they are the ones with the tools in hand. We say a lot, Shunna Burst, it needs to be Shun coming out strong in this one. You have the lanes to play for you. I want to see him start on the bot side, get a leash, get a strong early start, and then path up towards that top side and play around your strong lanes. Invade the enemy jungle if you find the opportunity, steal away camps, look for dives, just pressure, pressure, pressure.
We are going to jump onto the rift and see exactly what's going to be happening. We will see some early level shenanigans here as Shun doesn't quite know that everyone's sitting around here. We'll throw out a javelin, but not going to land it. It's sitting in the bush, and if they land this hook, this could just be a kill right now. This could be disaster for the side of IG. I will say, looking at the runes, we don't actually see the Hail of Blades. We see the press the attack here for the Tristana, looking for that little bit of extra guaranteed damage as the longer the game goes on, if you can get those auto attacks off. But again, nothing too untoward right now. EDG not knowing exactly where everyone is, so they're not going to throw out a hook even just to try and tempt fate.
Yeah, it means it's a little bit harder to proc your bomb, but when it does proc, it will hurt. So being able to ward the red buff, tracking the enemy jungle, super important when you're playing Nidalee. You want to find as many opportunities as you can to sort of apply pressure to steal away camps. You don't necessarily have to kill Jiejie on this Poppy, but stealing away jungle camps, forcing them out, very important. Now we will see him start on the bot side, which is exactly what I want. We will see Jiejie mirroring on the bot side, so potential to try and dissuade him up towards the top, defend Flandre from any dives. And that's the thing, the Poppy does well into a lot of these picks, right? The Renekton with his dashes, Nidalee with a jump in, the Tristana as well with the rocket jump. You can stop a lot of those with your W.
Does very well to mitigate a lot of what IG will want to do, and that's why I'm saying, you know, this has to be a pre-15 minutes. I want to see about 2,000, 3,000 gold here from IG. I want to see them with multiple dragons, maybe a Rift Herald in the back pocket. Like, they need to dominate this early game in order to make it work for them. And now we'll see how they're able to make that happen, because if this game goes to 20 minutes and they're, as you said, dead even, it just feels like it's going to be EDG all day, every day. There's no real way they can kind of come back from it unless there's a monumental mistake from someone on the side of EDG. But let's have a look at the two kind of setups. Looking at the two junglers, we talked about obviously the Renekton and Nidalee, but where do you think we're going to see a lot of the pressure coming out? Because for EDG in game 1, it all was basically piled into that top side. Do we expect to see something similar coming out from them in this game?
I think it kind of depends where like you have the successful trades, right? I think Jiejie just needs to cover lanes, but for Shun, right, if you get a good trade made, you can potentially threaten a dive on a scout, but that hasn't really happened so far. You have Gwen, who obviously finds priority very well early. She's pushed up. This is a great opportunity to gank here. He just needs to get in range to stun, but unfortunately, level 2, you either have the stun or the dash. You don't have both, right? Because you take you level 1. So not able to capitalize, and Flandre, he's just chilling. So as much as that doesn't look like much, right? Nothing really came from that. The fact that you weren't able to find that gank is already a little bit sad for the side of IG, right? And now Jiejie, he will just cover Flandre. So Flandre, you can now push the wave in. You're strong enough to do so, and you have the backup of your Poppy to make sure if a gank comes, you have some sort of recourse.
Oh, Meiko, the king of roams. There's going to be the rocket jump coming out. The hook lands as well. Get the exhaust down. They're going to be able to flay him back. Yuekai trying to play happy feet right now. He doesn't want to lose his flash, and he doesn't. Very nicely done. We will see a javelin land, and Scout has nowhere to go. That's the start you want to be seeing. Shun on the board with this Nidalee.
threads the needle. Yuekai just refusing to give up the flash, right? Dodging, dipping, and diving. Does get hit by the Thresh death sentence, but managed to dodge away from everything after that. And so able to keep his flash available. And Shun comes in with a beautiful spear to answer. And as I'm saying, that top lane gank not happening. Kind of sad for IG. They find a play onto mid. Shun now has a bit of an advantage. Definitely a positive with that first clear. Picks up the Hextech alternator. A lot of extra damage in those skirmishes.
Yeah, let's have a look at the pro view here, because look at Yuekai. He just holds and holds and holds right now. He just doesn't think they have enough damage. And you know what? He is right. Once that Prosperous Bomb misses, they can't finish him off. It's
the dodge on the Prosperous Bomb that's so big. If he'd walked into that, would have had to flash without doubt. But dodging away with that was the critical thing. I think you saw the death sentence come in. Often players will, you know, dodge backwards. Should have just walked in a straight line, but you make the mistake, you dodge the next skill shot that comes in, and your jungler is there to back you up. And now has picked up the calls, so able to farm up an advantage there. But anytime Scout oversteps, he no longer has the exhaust, right? He no longer has that combat summoner. His only real recourse is to kind of run away or hope that he has a team there. And now look at the size of this wave. This is a bad time for Flandre.
It is a very bad time for Flandre, and already he's down below half HP. They can just reset the aggro right now and just keep him peppered down. They aren't going to fully commit to this one just yet, but they are going to try and see if they land one more javelin, wait for those cooldowns to come back for Zika, and they should be able to go for it. Now you can see flash forward. They do land the stun down. Great Poppy re-engage though. Jiejie in the right place at the right time, using the steadfast presence, stop Shun from getting the lead.
And it's just very greedy from IG, right? Because they make the decision to reset cooldowns for Zika, right? They're like, okay, we got Flandre low. Don't think we can quite kill him with the burst damage from Shun. So let's reset aggro, go for it again. But you spend so much time, right? It allows Jiejie to come over to defend. Speaking of Jiejie,
he's dead. Oh, I have to say that. He's going to get himself knocked down. Yep, he's dead. They're going to try and get that one over to Shun, but they shall not. Lucas will pick up the kill. But this is, again, IG. They need to keep this pace going. They need to be as aggressive as physically possible because they know they're on a timer right now. This is still good, but is it enough?
Yeah, they are going to be rewarded, right? And because they took down Jiejie, it means Flandre can't step up, right? Level advantage for Zika in this situation. He did manage to pick up a lot of experience of that previous wave, but he is still behind. And now Meiko's moved over. Poppy back here. They're going to look for the Gwen, though.
There's the dominance, though. This is the experience advantage you were talking about. Flandre trying to run back towards his tower. He will get some extra little bit of XP. Lucas will hit himself onto the wall, but now we've got the Tristana jumping in. They're going to have it. They're going to have everybody here. This is so chaotic, and they're going to jump on the Flandre, kill him off. Will they get a kill in return? They shall not. Shun doing very well to keep himself there, and again the AD carries looking at each other as if nothing is wrong. I will say though, Viper saying, look, I'm done with this PvE stuff. I need to fight. I need to look for some engagements. I need to look for some blood, and he's gonna get it as well. And the 1v1 Viper comes out trumps.
Heal difference, right? And has the cleanse available for their fear of the death sentence. Viper has to heal, and that's enough. He forces the fight. The trap's behind, and means he's not really able to get out of that situation. And again, right, IG are making the positive plays, but they're making mistakes. They're getting punished. And right, Viper just confident on this one. The trap's behind, hits the zap as well, and now you're stacking up lethal tempo. The heal gives you enough of a health advantage. Even has the sweeper who doesn't lose track of him in the brush and able to finish him off. Just a heads up play and a great opportunity to answer back.
Again, look, yes, we are saying that, you know, as if IG are losing. They're not. They are still ahead by about 1,500 gold, but is it enough? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. It is good, but is it going to be good to the point of which they can, you know, catapult themselves into a win? Can they keep themselves going for that? And that's the big question. We're going to wait and see. There is a call for this Tristana into the mid lane. Yuekai able to TP back as well to pick up all that big old farm, but this is where the game gets a little bit scary. For IG, they need to keep up this pace. It's been good so far, but it needs to be consistently going this way for them in order for them to kind of come back.
Yeah, and despite the gold advantage top right, despite the fact that we saw Zika pick up a plate, and we saw him pick up a lot more CS, like you can see he's got a 20 CS lead, because Flandre ended up picking up a lot of the experience from that wave when they attempted the first dive. He's level 6, right?
Here we go.
I'm looking for him.
They are going to go for him, flash in. They're going to jump straight on top of him, and that's a fantastic capitalization again on the top side. Now we'll see the Glacial Augments doing work, but not enough. Jiejie picks up a kill, knocks up on, and they'll donate that one over to the Viper Fund. Nicely answered here by EDG in the bot side, and now you've got yourself Scout. Looking a little bit aggressive. Yuekai. Not quite sure about that one, buddy. Doesn't quite get the reset, and here we go. There's going to be the package going over. It's going to be a trade in. The exhaust comes down, and we can see Yuekai trying to make this one work for himself. He does not quite have the damage. He doesn't have himself the jump, so he can't get himself in because Scout would just flash away.
Yeah, you can see Yuekai was trying to find the knockback into his own tower, but was really cautious of the package not walking on again. Otherwise, he would have died. By the way, right, we see this situation. IG get a kill top. Great. They are denying Flandre again, and now they are starting to build a pretty significant lead for Zika. It's now 2 levels, and the gold is going even more in favor. But the trade-off is you lose Dragon, you lose both members of your bot lane, and Viper is now really far ahead. 1,000 gold lead between the AD carries. And again, it's a lead overall for IG, but we set this up in the draft. IG need to crush the early game. They've been positive. I still feel like there's too much being answered back by EDG.
It is still a 2,000 gold. Let's have a look at the replay here. And this is just Jiejie on something like a Poppy being proactive, being in a position to make something work for his team. And that steadfast presence, we talked about it in the draft. So good at mitigating everything. Flandre, what are you doing, buddy? You know you don't have any priority in this top side, in this jungle. You need to just back away. And he gets caught again.
Yeah, this is just a game of bully Flandre, right?
He had a great game one. That's not going to happen again.
This strategy is fantastic in solo queue because there's a good chance that the top laner just tilts and goes AFK. But in a competitive game, that's never going to happen, right? So as much as they're getting gold, this is the trade-off.
It's a Hex Flash over the wall. We are going to see Jiejie not quite get the heroic charge into the wall, and we'll trade back a little bit of HP. And right now it is a trade of sides. You got to play weak side. So far it's been bit even. I will say you're probably feeling a little bit better as the Aphelios. You've got about a 25 CS lead. I'm kind of swapping the portraits of the CS differentials between the Aphelios and the Gwen because I feel like those two are more comparable in this particular situation. But again, still good moves here. It's a 2,000 gold lead for IG at 10.5 minutes. They could maybe get themselves a Dragon in 3.5, and they have got a Rift Herald as well still to use. So they have options available to them. How do you want to see them accelerate? How do you want to see them move forward? Because we know they can bully Flandre, but what else can they do?
They need to start taking towers, right? They need to be able to move this advantage around. The fact that, you know, there's still that tower alive, take that, move your advantage, look for placement of the lanes. If you get a significant amount of plates across the map, you're going to be in good stead, and then it allows you to play more aggressive, right? We saw IG pushing very deep into that red side jungle. You're kind of limited, though, when you have mid-tier 1 up, when you have top-tier 1. If you overstay, you know, there's only like 2 routes out the jungle. You can't walk through the lanes. So I want to see them take structure so they can accelerate this game. It's really vital they get this soon.
I will say, I love this from Zika right now. Shun wasn't quite up in that top side, but he pretended that he was. And with knowing that Flandre does not have the kind of vision control that he would need to be able to keep himself safe and secure, Flandre had to back away. He couldn't risk it. He couldn't risk the fact that Shun wasn't 100% there. And yes, Shun comes over to finish off the tower, but again, it's a trade on the bottom side. It's a lot of free gold, a lot of free time we're seeing right now from the side of EDG given over to the Viper. And now, with the Rift Herald being dropped in the mid, I will say the one thing we didn't really get to talk about is going to be Tristana with those explosive casts, or excuse me, the ultimates. As I say of ultimates, we're going to see them jump straight back in. They're going to get on top of Scout. He survives with absolutely nothing. The tower is still doing work. They need to take that one down. As you can see now, Meiko goes golden. Jiejie finally falls. They go forward. Can they get the damage? Yes, they can. Tower and 2 kills. 1 traded back over. IG trying to pick up the pace.
This is what we want to see, right? They take that top tower, they push the wave in, they rotate mid, they group up, they take the tower with the Herald, and they answer with a bunch of kills. Yes, Viper is still ahead to AD carry significantly. It's still going to be a problem, but as long as they keep up this pace, they can look to accelerate the game to the point where it doesn't matter, but they need to keep on this, right? Bot tower is still available. They have a minute and a half, so if they move Yuekai down, potentially gets a chance to pick up some more plates there and continue to accelerate. Because the problem is, right, as much as this top and jungle are really far ahead, mid and AD carry, well, mid's even and AD carry is down. We're going to replay off that. So just an overstay, right? You know Zika has priority, can move through the jungle. Scout nearly goes down off the back of this, right? Could have been even more of a disaster, but Jiejie will die to the ignite. And despite the stopwatch from Meiko to buy time, it won't do anything.
Yeah, they almost themselves out. Almost able to trade that one back. And now we're at 3,500 gold lead. Dragon up in 45 seconds. You will see Yuekai on that bot side just pushing up, trying to get as much as he possibly can. Lucas just trying to delay the backs for as long as he possibly can because he knows there is a package coming very, very soon. On the other side of this, though, EDG finally getting Flandre some alone time, trying to see if they can make something work for him. Get this Gwen back into the game for some way, shape, or form. And now Zika, you're very big. So actually, that's going to be EDG respecting him very much so. They're going to push in, but it's a trade-off, and I think, honestly, IG are winning out on it because they're not afraid. They know they have to leverage this advantage, and this is good from IG.
Yeah, they know, especially with Gale Force now, and the fact that Scout has the mana immune, which obviously isn't completed, isn't really offering too much power. He can't just walk up to the Tristana, right? So Yuekai is able to pick up the tower quite easily. IG defend on the top side. And actually, Scout's looking for Yuekai. No, he's just packaging over. Just has it ready for Dragon. But either way, good play from IG. They get all the plates. It is a very big goal lead right now. And this is kind of what we're looking for at the end of the game. I'm not saying it's over, right? Normally, you see a gold lead this big at 14 minutes. You want to call it. EDG still have exceptional scaling. This is exactly what you need in the game from IG to give themselves a good chance. They will pick up that dragon. It's going to be their first of the game. Soul still very, very far away. They need to continue this momentum. Second Herald spawning in 15. That needs to be next on that list.
I mean, it's unfortunate for the side of IG that they don't have the dragon stacking as well, because like I said, that would be fantastic for them, especially with that Hex Dragon, given the champions they have. But they'll get themselves on the board with it regardless. As we can see now, Viper being given a lot of time, a lot of agency here, and I gotta feel like with Zika getting so much. Oh, Shun gets jumped on though, and he's gonna be the most fed member, nearly getting taken out. He will get himself healed up just a little bit and keeps himself safe. They've invested so much there. You've lost the flash and the heal from the Poppy and the Jinx respectfully, but now with the Rift Herald live, this could be a big moment here for the side of IG. You know that they're down summoners on the side of EDG.
And honestly, Shun getting very lucky there, right? Going in for this play without the backup of his team, feels confident because he's 3 levels up. And fortunately, I think the Seeker's Arm Guard probably what saved him there. The extra armor doesn't give over that massive bounty to someone like Viper. That would have been a disaster. But they do pick up the Herald. They are able to keep the momentum going. 5,000 gold lead at 15 minutes, definitely significant. And they need to keep pushing. It's sometimes points like this where the game is very easy to slow down, right? Tier 2s, a lot harder to take those than Tier 1s. You have to get deeper vision control, especially with the Hex Gate potentially threatening flanks. Now, I don't think EDG are a team who are really going to look to flank, right? If Flandre with 4.5k gold ends up behind you, you're like, what? But still, you've got to be a little bit cautious about not overstepping and giving them an opportunity. For now, Yuekai is going to keep leading in the side lane. Surprised he hasn't picked up a hull break, honestly.
Yes,
how many
straight up.
touches he's been taking. But Vipe confident he can just hold him off and clear the wave quite quickly.
I mean, this, again, like you mentioned, this is where the game gets a bit tenuous, gets a bit stressful for the side of IG, because you have to keep up the momentum. You can't let this game slow down. If you're still at 5,000 gold behind, as I say that, Zika not check the brush and just not get one there. But I like this from IG, saying, look, we need to keep up the pace. We need to keep getting these side lanes going. This will be decent gold here into the back pockets of IG. It'll get them back up and keep accelerating where they are at. They've got Yuekai on the top side, who's now drawing the attention of Scout, and you can see how much Scout had to respect this Tristana pick as well. Didn't pick up the teleport, went with the exhaust, because if you don't pick up the exhaust, you are going to die. We saw multiple times where the Tristana almost was able to take out the Corki, and this is where IG can find themselves a little bit of an advantage. They jump straight in onto Meiko, who has to flash away, and I like this from IG, but it's very high risk, high reward. They need to know that if they go too far, they can just lose it all.
Yeah, just gotta be a bit cautious, but they're letting Yuekai push in the top lane, kind of working out as a 1-3-1. You do have to be cautious. You're kind of overstaying here.
He's dead. Yeah, he's flashing
I think
away. And he's got the Gale Force, but I don't think he's got many places to go. They are going to try and maybe see if Jiejie will keep him here. There's the Buster Shot, but unfortunately it lands into the wall. But you've invested 3 people into this top side, and now you can see the acceleration coming in. They're going to break open the base. This is 3-20 minutes. This is exactly what IG needed.
Yeah, they get the mid-tier 2. They do need to back away because they have numbers disadvantage. And this is why it's kind of, you know, the arrangement here was this 1-1-3. You have Yuekai without any vision control on the red side jungle, kind of isolated. Is normally why we see teams play through 2 lanes next to each other, right? It kind of felt like IG were playing on opposite sides, which meant Yuekai didn't have the information, didn't have the safety, and does go down. It's still IG, right? 6k gold ahead, getting that tier 2 mid. They can still be happy with that, but you know, you want to make as few mistakes as possible in this situation. Now we have 1:30 on that next dragon. We have 2 minutes on the Baron. They've taken those tier 2s, but there's no more heralds available to help you out. So I feel like it's going to really come down to those neutrals and securing them. Objective bounty picked up for Viper. Obviously shares throughout the team, but that's the thing. That's the danger. You mess up, you give over an objective. There's a huge gold bounty of Nidalee. If Nidalee goes down and you lose something like a dragon or a Baron, EDG will swing this gold so heavily back in favor.
Gotta be careful though. Jiejie is only level 9 compared to Yuekai, and Shun's level 12. As I said, that Yuekai gets caught, he's dead. They're gonna be able to pick him off. Steadfast presence stops him from jumping out anywhere, but Shun is here. They have to go in full retreat. Viper gets jumped on here. They're gonna commit the TP. That's gonna be Flandre jumping onto this. So it's gonna be a 4v3 in favor of EDG. Gonna be a 5v4 as he finds out on, and there's nowhere for you to go. The package is just too damn strong. You've lost 2 people, and all of a sudden, Ox is falling apart already.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity found by EDG, and the thing is, IG committed, right? They lost a member, they lost Yuekai before, and they just went, yeah, fine, we'll try and push mid. But because they were on that side of the map, they felt like they had to commit to the play. They don't end up getting anything, though. They just end up losing the AD carry as well. And that gold lead, you know, 6,000 a moment ago, only 4,500 now. Still big, but not insurmountable. They're going to move towards that dragon. Second, yeah, you'll take it, but it's not exactly threatening the soul anytime soon. EDG still a scary force to be reckoned with at this point.
I will say there is still an option. You land 1 spear onto anyone on EDG, you will die. That's just how it is. You either flash away or you die. And Shun doing very well right now. Has himself a Zonya's, even got himself the Dark Harvest fully completed. The AD carries are getting there, but they're not quite at a point at which they can deal with anyone solo. And again, this is just great opportunistic moments here from EDG, and they're getting the hook out just as the Hex Flash will come out, so they can get this Poppy in position to stop the jump.
There's just nothing you can do as Tristana. No way to jump away with the Thresh play and the W from the Poppy threatening to interrupt it. And then you see IG are moving over, like, yeah, let's commit to this play. The Scout just finds on and absolutely eviscerates him, right? Despite the fact we haven't seen too much of this Corki. He's been farming up a Storm, 210 CS, really looking to scale up heavily. Level 13, tied highest in the game. And even though you look at the gold and you see, you know, just under a 5,000 gold lead.
No, Zika has to pop the dominance to keep himself alive, and losing these little things are going to be huge. As I say that, though, the hook over the wall, if Meiko gets caught out, they have the from the depths going in as well. And EDG, they're losing key summoners. They're losing this fight, and IG have found themselves an opportunity. They get themselves 3. They can come back, take the Baron, and this is perfect to accelerate for IG.
And I was talking about, right, if IG make a mistake, EDG can turn this around. But EDG, if you make a mistake as well, when you're 5k gold down, that's a Baron, right? Overstepping, you can see the thought process. It's like, we'll force dominance from Zika, we'll chunk them out, we'll back away. They don't give them the opportunity to back away. Lucas straight in, connects the CC, and they're going to be able to pick up this Baron. And that is going to allow them to keep snowballing this game. They've already taken down every tier 2 apart from that one in the top lane. I expect them to be cracking the base on the back of this Baron.
Flandre just taking himself whatever he can. It will be the first real impact he's had in this game. Sadly, he has had the run of it down about 50 CS, maybe 60 or so at this stage. But let's have a look at this again. This looks opportunistic from EDG, but you're still 5,000 gold behind.
Yeah, you see they play away right at the end. It's very much, let's bring the cooldown back away. But you overcommit. Lucas comes in with a Hex Flash, and there's just no way you get out of this situation again because the Nautilus has all that lockdown. Lands the ult onto Viper to keep him in the fight for as long as possible, but then gets that final dredge line onto the Corki. And now IG back with that 6,000 gold lead and Baron in hand. They are spreading out again into that 1-3-1. They do have Yuekai in the side lane, but again, with the Baron spreading over 3 lanes makes it pretty scary for EDG. And they don't have that hard engage, right? If they catch someone, if someone steps forward and they're disrespectful, they can absolutely pin someone down. But ultimately, they can't just charge them. And now this is really nice play from IG. They push the mid lane tower in. Oh, as I'm saying that, this is not great play from IG.
No, not so much. He has got the Thresh available to him. We'll get the dominance. Look at the healing he's able to get back on top of this. You've invested 5 members. Every single person from EDG was there, so they need to get themselves all the way back in now. They will lose an inhibitor turret. Will they lose anything else? So again, this is fine for IG as long as they can keep this momentum going, keep pushing forward, and keep breaking open the base. I say that they may have overextended just a little bit. Never mind, Rocket Jump exists.
Yeah, and the thing is that now EDG have a number advantage. They can push the waves out. We're probably not going to see IG get much more from this Baron. So despite the fact it's still a net positive, considering you had Baron, you wanted to get more. You wanted to get a lot more off the back of that. So not ideal. And you know, I was coming up, I was about to praise IG. They push the mid wave in. They have Yuekai slowly stacking the wave top, bringing it up so they can rotate up, take that tier 2, really nicely execute in terms of macro, and then Zika just caught out, right? No reason to be there on that side of the map. Your team will make a play on the top side. back away, group with them. There's various things you can do, but him going down means that this Baron push is basically stopped. And now you look at the timer, right? There's 40 seconds left on the Baron. People are just leaving base now from IG. You're not getting anything more on the back of this. So yes, still 6,000 gold ahead, still in control of this game. But the longer it goes, the more scared I am feeling for IG.
I mean, you look at Viper right now, Infinity Edge, Gale Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, he is online. If EDG can keep him safe, if EDG can get an opportunity where this Viper Jinx carry can just keep himself throwing out those rockets, getting that DPS out, it becomes so difficult to see how IG win that fight. You got Thresh with this Jinx as well. We talk about it a million times, and we'll talk about it a million times more. The kiting and protection that you get with this Thresh pick for the Jinx is just unmatched in my opinion. And now IG recognize this. You can see they're trying to just clear out vision, clear out the camps on this bot side, try and find somebody who's going to walk too far forward. I will say though, with a level 14 Shun, those spears are doing work, and he's got 3 items of his own.
Yeah, I mean, they are threatening if they hit, and now they've played out the vision very effectively around this dragon area. EDG have the package to try and force through, but if they face check into a spear, it's really scary, and now IG are looking for potential engage opportunity. This is scary with the package still. They will force them out of mid, force them away from the dragon. EDG are still confident move forwards. Oh, that was a lot of damage.
That was half its HP, but the rockets are doing some serious work as well. There's the Mega Det rocket and the package. Package hits nothing. And I feel like from the side of EDG, I don't know if you want this. I say that they're going to go for IG, who want to try and fight this. They do get the Moonlight Vigil, and it's going to be Lucas sacrificing himself out of this fight. On, gets himself with the wall, but Viper is getting the resets. They get the resets onto the carries that they need. And IG, you did so well. You did so much, but I feel like you just went a little bit too long, and now EDG are coming into this game.
Yeah, they're trying to force the fight, right? And Lucas ends up engaged on a Meiko. I don't think EDG really care if you take down Meiko. Viper ends up free hitting this Jinx, who's been slowly ramping up with the game. Now 405. You're still ahead in gold, but at this point, I don't think EDG care anymore. They're going to start taking down some structures. Objective bounties in pocket. They got an objective bounty for the dragon. They get an objective bounty from the mid tower. Definitely feeling favorable. And this, honestly, you know, the package is wasted here, right? Because Shun flashes away, doesn't hit anyone. You don't need to re-engage here, but Lucas flashes into the package to CC Meiko. That's ult burn on Meiko as well, right? Great ultimate coming after the Poppy to knock IG away, but it was just a horrible engage, I'm going to be real. And then EDG, they have their backline able to free hit. They're able to push up. They take the fight win, a ton of golden pocket. And we were just talking about the massive gold lead, right? It's down to just under 3,000 now. It's feeling pretty rough for IG. I think that was one mistake too many on that one.
I mean, even looking at the defensive items that are coming out right now, Scout's got himself a Zhonya's Hourglass. He knows that all he has to do is defend himself, keep himself alive. And Viper didn't even have to use his flash in that last fight. He's got a stopwatch. He's going to be working towards a GA, you would imagine. And as much as I want to praise IG, you knew you were on a timer. You knew that as long as this game went to, 3-4 items, that's when your team fight just isn't quite there. The Renekton, as you saw just before we went into that replay, underneath the tower, the Jinx was fearless. Viper was just pushing forward, saying, look, I can kill you, and you can't touch me. You can't get near me. And with the red buff as well, Viper is going to be the big problem here for the side of IG. They need to kill off Viper, and even then it's a question mark if they can win the game. Oh my god! Oh my god! There's just nothing you can do. The game is over. Double kill for Viper. EDG waited. They bided their time. They knew all they had to do was just get Viper onto 3 items and they could win the game. And now it's it. They can't defend this Baron. It's going to be a miracle steal, if anything, from Shun to try and make this one work. As I say that, great spears over the wall will help you out.
Yeah, I mean, Shun just has to hit, several more spears in very quick succession.
Oh, Yuekai, he's dead. He's dead. Yep. 2v5. It's not over to the Fat Lady sings, but that Fat Lady is warming up the vocal cords right now, and this is going to be Baron for EDG. IG, again, commendable. You tried your absolute hardest. You were able to keep Flandre down, but it's just not enough. And this is why these scaling AD carries are being so prioritized. When you're able to get to this stage of the game, despite being down 6,000 gold at one point, despite your base being cracked, Jinx is still Jinx.
Yeah, and I mean, Scout just deletes Yuekai here, right? The burst damage available obliterates him. And now, gold is dead even, right? Gold is dead even, but we see level advantages. 2-level lead for Viper. Scout level 17. I can't see Yuekai's level right now, but I'm pretty sure he's ahead. Baron in pocket for EDG. You know, they have hit the point where they win this game, and IG, they need a miracle, right? One too many mistakes, and now they're in a position where they are effectively behind, right, based on the scaling. They're gonna have to be fast to get out of this one.
I mean, Sean needs to be careful. Oh, the blue buff being an absolute bro right there. Just tanks up the hook there. If he gets cut, like again, Shun is the carry. Shun is the person who's going to be able to keep you in this fight if you are looking for that miracle. And as of right now, he is the only saving grace that IG have. With the package coming up now, they're not going to take it just as I say that he does. So minute 30 before that dragon does
want it for the Baron push.
Yeah, they want it for the Baron push. They want to try and end the game before that becomes even a question.
Yeah, they want to try and force as much as they can on the back this Baron. And now it's so scary. Like Viper, 4.5 items, has the GA in pocket, basically full build, just missing that final piece. The difference in AD carries this game in terms of the gold available to them, in terms of the impact as well. Aren't Fanny picking up the Infinity Edge, but he has just felt so muted in this game, and now Viper's so confident to push up and start putting damage down. Look at that dodge!
Oh, he just gets himself away. They're going to have to jump onto him right now, but the hooks are good, and Lucas is dead. You do not have your Nautilus left. The Super Mega Jet Rocket will whiz past as Corki picks up another one. That's going to be a double kill for Scout, and the game is done. IG, you were valiant. You had a game plan, and sadly for you, you just weren't able to make it work against EDG. They'll crack open inhibitors in top and mid. They've got themselves plenty of minion waves, plenty of time with this Baron. This game is done. Oh.
Yeah, it is just dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Honestly, the I's already dotted. They're just doing the T's right now. IG going to try and defend, but it seems all over.
Yeah, it just feels like there's nothing else you can do on trying to fight on the fountain right now, and he's just not able to make things work for him. The GA will be popped there as Zika goes down. The Thresh will be a sacrifice, but there's only so much you can do. EDG take themselves up to 7-1. 2-0 against IG. The expected result, but I still think there was some positives there for IG.
Absolutely, right? EDG, we expect them to win this series, right? But it still showed that early game isn't quite infallible. I mean, game 2, obviously, they had a composition where they weren't going to win the early game, but things like maybe they were perhaps a bit greedy, picking up the Gwen in the top lane, could have taken something that was maybe a bit safer, like the Gragas. Either way, Flandre got heavily punished. There was that massive gold lead. They still managed to bring it back, and it is just EDG's ability to turn things around in the mid to late that is so stellar. But IG, you know, you lost. That's fine, right? You showed a lot this game, right? Game 1, you kept pace with EDG. Game 2, I like that they came out with that game plan and they executed on it in the early game. Yes, they